And also, we found out today that if you had your dick cut, if you were circumcised, then that's probably what led to your autism. Yeah, no. I'd like to clarify that you can't take a scientific article and read it and understand it and actually understand the findings of it unless you have a scientific background, unless you have been trained on how to read a scientific article. So RFK likes to just talk about random shit, right? So now he's saying that if you were circumcised, you're 2 times more likely to have autism because during that circumcision, you probably had Tylenol. Now, clearly there's an agenda here to like push big pharma out. I have no idea. Look, I know the study he's talking about. There aren't two studies. There's one. It's a Danish cohort. That's a group of people they used to study. They looked at people. They didn't like actually talk to these people. They reviewed medical records. They got information. It was 300,000 people. They found about 1,000 of them to be autistic in some way. And in that 1,000 people, they looked at this tiny, small subset, which they did not identify. And those individuals were circumcised. There is nothing about acetaminophen. There is nothing about Tylenol in the article. So RFK is assuming that this small group of a few kids out of 300,000 got autism because they were circumcised. It is a completely egregious, ridiculous statement, and it is completely untrue. And it must be because he's backed by money in some way, somehow. He is not saying this because he doesn't understand it. I don't think he understands it, but there's something pushing his false misinformation forward. So if we look at that study, they also looked at kids under the age of 5 years old, and they did not adjust for confounding factors. Now, if you're MAGA and you don't believe in education, you want to understand those words. What they didn't do is look at everything else that could potentially lead to autism. They did not control the study. They didn't look at genetics. They didn't look at culture. They didn't look at how parents treated kids. They didn't look at, oh, I don't know, maybe the one parent was like poisoning the kid for the first 5 years of their life. They didn't look at any of that. And so for RFK to just spew that out and for the world and vulnerable people who don't have the education to understand it to think that now if you got your dick cut, you might have had Tylenol and that's why you're autistic, especially to spew that out to people who are actually autistic, it is so fucking offensive. I'm sorry. I just can't even believe it's gone to this degree. And we will find out. Of course, we will find out why he is pushing this so hard. Who's making him and who's paying him. But anyways, circumcisions do not lead to autism. As somebody who has published peer-reviewed scientific journals and actually understands how the fuck to read them, that annoys me. Anyways, yeah, so Trump also doesn't know what habeas corpus means. That was fun. Somebody asked him about habeas corpus and he said, who? Like it was a person. And so he turned to Christy Nome, the one who's been running around Chicago trying to go pee and no one's letting her into the bathroom because she's arresting everyone and she's like fronting ICE and the military. He turned to Christy Nome as like, save me. I don't know what this big word is. And she said, well, I don't really, that hasn't come across my plate. Really? It hasn't come across either of your plates. So let me explain to you. Corpus is a legal procedure and it allows you to challenge unlawful detention, which they are both doing by doing these mass ICE raids and arrests. They're picking up people because they're brown. That's why they're picking up people. They're not looking at their documentation. They're not looking at their paperwork. They're not looking at anything before they take them. So habeas corpus is what these individuals need because a lot of these individuals are fucking American citizens. It is, and they didn't know what the word was. I'm flabbergasted how these people got to the top of our government. I am absolutely flabbergasted. I do not care what political side you are on. This is not politics. This is obscene. These are people at the top of our government who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They don't understand policy. They don't understand big words. They don't understand sunscreen or makeup application. They don't understand appropriate eyelash extensions. Normal attire. They don't understand how they look like bitchy, like, it just egotistical, lacking insight people. And they don't understand that they look like they're being severely blackmailed or they're in a cult. How did we get here? How the fuck did we get here? Anyways, moving on. Aaron Parnas is still alive because he only posted 11 times today. So not that bad, but it's only like 8:30 in California. So I guess we could hear a lot more in the night. Trump did indict, and I'm going to say Trump. Trump did indict Letitia James of New York because she went after him. And Trump is the president. He shouldn't be indicting people, but he did find a lawyer to actually do it. And so he is really using political power, just like James Comey, to attack people who don't believe in him. It is amazing. And this is just one day. This is Thursday. So let's think about, how were we manipulated today? We were all manipulated today. Court orders were used as theatrical props. There was so much doomsday scrolling that went on that is extremely excessive. Definitely algorithms were altered. I have multiple TikTok accounts and they were all going in different directions and down different rabbit holes, trying to catch up on where I'm going and then wanting to move me to different areas. So definitely I think the algorithms are being controlled by money, by really rich people who want people to think certain ways and go to certain places and see certain things. But overall, I think we were manipulated because the world news just fucking hijacked our cortisol today and we need some calmness. So let's just have a little meditation. We'll close our eyes and we will think about Radiohead and that epic line, "Don't go 'cause you're strangled by chains you cannot feel. Karma police, arrest this man." Seems fitting, right?